First question, why a musical tale?
For a long time I've admired and envied the era when Richard Wagner could create colossal pieces. Today, opera is still a wonderful musical media, but it seems to me that the theatrical form is no longer in sync with the 21st century. We're a generation of cinema, television and internet. This might sound like provocation, but I enjoy that if Richard Wagner was here today, he would write musical tales on the internet for everyone instead of contemporary operas for the few. I'm trying to recreate the same process of blending text and music writing with a fantasy world where instruments tell a story just as well as words do.
In writing this tale, did you visualize music and images right away?
When writing an adventure scene, you can help visualizing images inside of it, which are later interpreted through the director's input. Music is different. In fact, I write the story scene in view of creating specific music for it. That means I hear the overall musical style during the process, though I seldom hear the individual details of the themes, melodies, etc. This kind of work requires a different state of mind. It means full focus and total dedication. So writing the story isn't the most appropriate time for creating a thorough musical composition.
How did it go during the writing process? Were there slowdowns, unexpected timeouts, a blank sheet anxiety?
I had an awful time keeping the first minutes out. In the end, the full Helena project will be nearly 5 hours. It was crucial to steer it in the right direction from the first notes on. It put me under a lot of pressure.
The story is dedicated to Hélène Grimaud, an internationally renowned French pianist. What role did that play in the creation of the Elena project?
It had been 2 years since I read with great admiration of Variations Sauvages. It seemed to me that reality was greater than fiction, and that this outstanding musician had everything it took to make a fascinating hero. I had this in mind, but I couldn't find the right idea. I was on my way to creating a totally different story when all of a sudden it came to me. Hélène Grimaud, lost and confused in the middle of a gothic fantasy world where wolves would protect her from terrifying creatures. It became Helena and the orchestra of the world of mist.
What is the relationship with the heroic fantasy world that Elena's tale is based on?
Music that doesn't make you dream is useless. A musical tale calls for a fantasy world where the characters live extraordinary adventures. Because they are not in the real world, the music can expand freely, and that's a good thing. Through the heroic fantasy universe, many feelings and situations are driven to the extreme. They lead to stronger and more interesting illustrations.
One can easily spot two great passions of Elena, which are music through her virtuoso piano playing and the animal world with her love for wolves and horses. Why those two in particular?
Surely for many reasons. The first that comes to my mind is there are both values I share completely. I love music, I love horses, I'm deeply involved in the fight to save endangered species and their environment they live in. In addition, those are the values Hélène Grimaud stood for, so those were a natural source of inspiration for Helena as a character.
Elena is torn between two opposed powers. Sohan and Constantine, along with the orchestra of the world of mist, have to deal with terrifying evil forces. Without giving away too much detail of the story, could you describe this universe that Elena lives in?
Elena is a piano virtuoso. She lives in a great deal in her own universe. A musician of that level spends 5 to 12 hours a day on your instrument. This is reminiscent of an autistic world where you can spend hours without talking, focused on a score, alone in a room. The world of Myst is therefore the most violent emotional clash one could ever imagine. This very sensitive artist, living a life based on routine, will be confronted with the worst of human obsessions, such as power, domination, death, fear, brutality, anger, etc. It is on this paramount contrast that the storyline feeds itself. How an artist so little prepared and fragile can overcome her fear and confusion and face immense challenges.
How did you pick up the team for the project's images?
Opportunities and luck. First, I didn't expect such an ambitious picture production. Then I met director Romain Boulestex, whose enthusiasm carried the project to a higher level. I also met 3D artists, drawers, and graphic designers who carried the project once again much further than I had ever imagined.
Why the choice of an internet broadcast?
Let's begin with square one. Why make a movie, a video game, or a book without knowing if your story will find an audience? Free internet is a direct access to people, on an opportunity to ask, do you like this project, this story, this music, these pictures? And on a worldwide scale. Then the second step would be, if the audience approves, to produce for other media. Another point is that it's a domain of complete freedom for us too. No distributor and no middleman. What we do is what you get, directly from our computers to yours, as if we had come to your house and told you our story. Freedom is priceless.
Are you personally satisfied with the final result?
When I started out a few years ago, I couldn't believe we could get this far. It's also the sum of all the great and talented people on this team that has led to this higher result. As far as music is concerned, I never feel fully satisfied. In inspiration, there's always a place for chance and luck. Let's say that I'm really happy about some of the tracks.
We arrived to the end of our interview. Thank you, Stephane Meer, for your time, and well, I leave you the final word.
Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the great people around the world that write me. No artist can survive without an audience. This is the most precious thing of all. Thank you very much, and hope to see you on musicaltales.com.